Okay, thank you, Colin. Good day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the conference. Today, we're going to be telling you our experience in making Flash games in a very saturated market. So first, let me introduce myself and my friend here. My name is Chris Anthony, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Toge Productions. And here with me is...
My name is Darmin. I'm also the co-founder of Toge Productions, and I'll be the button presser for this session. Will it be okay, Chris?
Yeah, it's okay. Well, yeah. Okay, but first I want to ask, how many indie developers here in the room? Could you raise your hands? Okay, cool. And how many are you doing Flash games as your focus? Could you raise your hands? Oh, awesome. Okay. Let me tell you a bit about Toge Productions. Basically, we are a Flash game development studio based in Indonesia. We're based in Jakarta. And we actually started as a student team back in 2008, is it? 2007?
2007, and I guess 2007 we started in university, and we graduated in 2008.
Yeah, so we went to the same university together. And we studied, games technology because it was our passion. And after we graduated, we went our separate ways to work in different game companies. But later in 2009, we decided, hey, let's make our own indie studio, and with only 2 of us in the team. And let me show you our first game. We have a trailer here from our first game that we released in 2009. Yeah. So the first game that we released is a side-scrolling zombie shooter game. Well, yeah, zombies is kind of a genre that's already been done, maybe to death. But we love zombies, so we follow our passion. So we make zombie games. This was released in 2009, and we didn't find a big sponsor for this. The game is actually sponsored by a portal in India. But from there, it kind of, get the ball rolling. So, let's get back to the slide.
Thanks.
Yeah, after that, we developed more and more games throughout the years. So far, we've made over 18 games from different genres, different kinds of gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have, we create a lot of single-player games, offline games, but we do have one MMO games here, and in the top left side there, we have called Planetary Conflict. It's an MMO games. So yeah, we create a lot of genre games, one MMO. And next.
Yeah. So these are some of the achievements that we've collected so far. We won several international awards. Some are from Flash Gaming Summit in San Francisco for Best Multiplayer Game for Planetary Conflict, and also Best Game Art for our recent release called Necronator 2. It's a strategy game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's get to our topic today. It's about the Flash game market. And let me give you a brief overview of what's the market today looks like. So, as you already know, Flash is a very widely distributed platform. Like over 90% of PC users, they have Flash Player installed. So you have a very wide user base, right? You can reach a massive global audience, and you don't have to think about, much of marketing or promoting your games. You just have it virally. It will just go to a lot of sites overnight. So when you look at it, because it's very easy to make Flash games and it's very easy to distribute the Flash games and into different portals, we see that a lot of new developers comes into the market, and most of them are enthusiasts, like students. That's actually how we started,
Yeah.
right? And only a few of them are professionals. And in comparing that to the publishers, there might be quite a lot of Flash portals out there, but the ones that are really, really huge and they have a very captive user base are only a handful, and that creates a huge gap,
Gap. Yeah.
So it creates some problems. The first one is about from the developer's point of view. As more developers coming in, a lot more competitors come in, and because most of them are students or they don't have any experience in developing games, most of them are making copycat games that are unpolished, making the market more and more saturated. So the market is basically flooded with games that
Same
are
game.
similar. Yeah.
If one genre, for example, tower defense games become successful, there are 100 more of tower defense game, and it became more and more saturated games.
Yeah. And from publishers, there's a recent change recently in terms of Google Ads policy on websites. This change creates it kind of changed the sponsorship model of the Flash game industry. Now that like maybe a year or two ago, you can easily find pretty decent website that will give you sponsorship on your game. But nowadays it's getting hard to find, because more and more websites and sponsors, they are getting picky because they don't have the same revenue stream like 2 years ago because Google changed their policy. And so also because of a lot of new games coming in, it's getting very hard to find which one is a good game, which one will be successful and really boost their portal's traffic, for example. So when we started, this is from our experience, we sent emails to all of the big portals like Congregate, Armor Games, Newgrounds, whatever, and none of them replied.
Yes.
Yeah, none of them replied. So we went to another site called Flash Game License, which actually they really help indie developers to find sponsors. So what happened? What happened is because new and more developers coming in, sending emails. The publishers, they get spammed with a lot of emails, and they don't really read emails that comes from unknown developers. They just skip it. So if you're a developer and you think you have a very good game and no sponsors replied your email, doesn't mean that your game sucks. It just you just don't have the credibility yet. So we went to Flash Game License. We find a sponsor from India, and they gave us a very small amount of sponsorship, but just to get us out there.
But now we have quite a name, so it's a different story, right?
Yeah. And from the audience point of view, when you look at Flash game portals, you'll see like tower defense, tower defense, tower defense. You get bored. You're getting sick of it. And most of them they have the same gameplay mechanic, right? Because they know this is already successful, so they just copy it and redo. And also a lot of unpolished games out there, so it makes kind of makes the Flash market very murky and filled with games that are not very good. So the next part is how do you make your game stand out? How do you compete with that? How do you get sponsors to notice you? How do you get audience to notice your games? From our experience, we get two things. The first one is to be unique, and the next one is to be productive. All right, so this first part is being unique. How do you be unique? Well, we try to make our own flavor, some sort of like a signature. So when somebody see a screenshot or they see a trailer, they'll notice instantly that that's from this developer, or that's from that developer. So we try to make our own flavor. And how do we make our own flavor? Maybe.
Well, there are 4 flavors that we can think of. The first one is you have to be different. Well, because mainstream is too mainstream. We're going to explain more with example in the next slide. The second flavor is we have to polish it to shine. We have to pay attention to details. We have to make the quality is high. Make your game stand out. The third flavor is you must have the game must have a deep and engaging experience. You might have a complex system behind your game. For example, the AI, the pathfinding, the behavior, but your gameplay must be very simple to play and memorable. You can make your game memorable by using controversy, for example, and using a catchy title like Farmville, game dev story, and
kind of be careful with Bill. You could get sued, but it's something you can take in consideration, right?
Yes. So we have an example here. It's our game called Infectonator 2. Who is here ever heard about Infectonator?
Okay, cool.
Okay, there's some of it. So for those of you who don't know the Infectonator, we have a trailer for it. That's it. Maybe you can explain it, Chris.
Oh yeah, okay. So the basic gameplay is you are a mad scientist and you try to take over the world. And to do that, you can spread virus in an unsuspecting population and turn people into zombies. And then the zombies will chase other surviving humans and bite them, turning them to more zombies. It's kind of like a chain reaction gameplay. And you can unlock new zombies, you can upgrade your zombies, make them faster, make them more ferocious. It's a very casual game. And the weird thing is, we get a lot of gameplays when we released the first time. So this is a sequel. Our first game was played, I think it has been played over 14 million times or something.
I think it's 100 million times. More than 100 million times.
Worldwide. Because the mechanics are very simple to understand. It's very easy to play. But behind that, there's a deep mechanic.
So we release it in our games now. We haven't distributed to any other portals. And it rated 9.5 out of 10. So it's quite successful here. And how do we stand out? So first, the first flavor is be different. Instead of being the human killing zombies, we're being the zombies killing the humans, eating the humans, turning them into zombies. That's the first part, and how we polish it to shine. One of the point is we have chat balloons here. The chat balloons contains jokes from many countries. We use different languages for different countries. For example, we have Korean languages in Korea, and Arabic and Arabic language, Arabic language in Arab, and so on and so on. So we try to pay attention to detail.
Oh, maybe I can add that a bit. A lot of developers they are concerned with localizing their games. So this is how we tackle it. We don't really localize the game. We just make one game that's released globally. But inside that game, we have local insights. I don't know, local flavor. Like for example, if you go to India, you'll see people speaking in Indian language.
Indian language.
It's kind of funny, if you go to China, they have a different language. You can see different characters. So we get a lot of emails from the players saying that, hey, it's really funny. I can see my home country, and it's the last city that I infected because I don't want to destroy my own country, something like that.
Yeah.
So it gives a personal touch to the players.
Yeah, and the third flavor we have is deep and engaging experience. So we have a lot of different type of zombies with a lot of different behavior, and also we have spells, and the spells has different effects as well. But how do you play the game? You just tap and watch as the zombie killing the humans. So it's very simple, but it's very complex behind that. The last part is memorable. As you can see, it's the game is called Infectonator. It's not a usual name. We added Nator. We added Nator in the end of our game title. We also have another game called Necronator, Infectonator, World Dominator, something like that. So it's memorable for the player. When a player hear a name called Nator, why it's from Toge Productions, something like that. And we have a very unique gameplay. Why I say we have a very unique gameplay? It doesn't even fit to any genre. For example, in Infectonator 1, in armor games, they put it on puzzle and skills, right? In Infectonator 2, they fit it into a strategy game. And in Congregate, it's a different story. So yeah, it's very different from the other games. It doesn't fit to any genre.
Yeah, actually, Greg from Congregate, he said that the game is very, it's kind of weird in a sense. You cannot really define the genre. So, yeah, so he has troubles, placing it. But yeah, that's one of the things that we try to make the game more memorable.
Yeah. The next example is, we call it Reich of Darkness.
This is a new game that we released, and there's some things that, good things and bad things that we can share. In this game, as you can see, you can have a kind of a Nazi, World War II feeling about it. So what we try is, we want to make a strategy game that's different. So how do you do that? When you like.
Would you show the
trailer?
trailer?
Sure. Show the trailer, yeah. So we have a trailer of the game here. It's very cold in here.
So yeah, you can see the resemblance with the Axis, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a strategy games. Very similar to, for those of you who play Warcraft, you summon a unit and the unit will destroy the base of your enemy.
Yeah, well, we know that having a World War II setting and playing as the bad guys is a very sensitive topic. We know that right from the bat. But we try to be true to our flavor, so-called. So we want to be different, and yeah. So as we try to be the bad guy. right? Because we want to be different as always. In all of our games, we always be the bad guy. So this one, we also try that formula. And then we try to polish it, by adding a lot of effects, having a lot of blood, explosion, visual effects. And okay. Yeah, and also chat balloons, voice acting, everything. And we also try to give the players a very deep and engaging experience by adding story and dialogues, make it more immersive. And for the memorable part, we know that it's controversial, so we try to leverage from that controversy. So when we release in Armor Games, we got a lot of hate mails.
A lot of hate mails? No. Well, this is very interesting because even though it's controversial, we try to do it anyway. And it has rated of 8.8 of 10. And it played over 800,000 just for 2 weeks. But even though there are many complaints, there are many emails complaining about the Nazi resemblance, it still has a pretty high score.
Yeah.
And a lot of gameplays.
Yeah. When we designed the game, we know that the controversy could be, it could create backlash. So we kind of break it down. So what's the opportunity and what's the challenges? The first part, we look at the opportunities. When you're an indie developer and you don't have any marketing budget, you don't have any money to spend, we try to make people talk about your game as much as possible. So having a very controversial theme, we will create that. And it's as a result of that, we got reviewed in a lot of web blogs, game reviews, and articles, and it fueled a debate in Armor Games forums, like 3 different threads, having a lot of a debate, a lot of people giving controversies like, hey, this is bad, this is pro-Nazi. Are you are the developers Nazi or fascist guys, whatever? But aside from that, we also see a lot of fans, they support us, saying that, hey, the game is not really about Nazi. When you look at the game, there's no word Nazi in the game, and we changed the logo. We changed the logo. We don't say Hitler. We try not to touch the sensitive areas. We only have we only use the theme, the feel of World War II, the feel of the uniforms of this German soldiers during the period.
Yeah.
Having that. But from that impression, a lot of players, usually the players that complain, they don't even play the game throughout. They only see the screenshot, the main menu, and then they get offended. So it's kind of weird. They don't even play the game, but they send complaints. And from there, we can identify the loyal fans very quickly. And it turns out a lot of people supported us. They kind of go to our Facebook page, give supportive comments.
Yeah, and defending us from the other criticized people there.
And the challenges is that, of course, it creates a lot of complaints and protests. And with that protest, actually, Armor Games, they said the reason they published the game was they don't really find it offensive, but because a lot of users complain, so we have to take kind of drastic measures. So we decided to take down the game, remove it from Armor Games, and we agreed to add some balance. So instead of playing the evil guys, we give the player option to play as the allied, so as the good guy. So it kind of balance out your moral conscience. So the lessons learned is that when you try to make a game that uses controversy as a leverage, you try to balance out, I think the moral values or like that. So what we did wrong is that we only put option to play the bad guy. And we already know that it's a very sensitive topic, and we still go with that. So, and it created a lot of, complaints. But from there, we learned that we should have something to balance that out. So if you're using a very sensitive topic. And the second part is always be calm and responsive in dealing with emails from your players. If it's hate mail or if it's supportive email, you have to treat them with the same amount of respect and calm and assertiveness. You don't want to offend them further. You want to try to convert the players that are complaining into the players that are supporting and seeing your points of view. And your fans will definitely support you. So try to listen to them, to their suggestive feedbacks and stuff like that. And okay, and the second part is about
how to be productive.
Being productive, yeah.
So, as we created these 3 games, we make these 3 games as our examples for this presentation. Necronator 2 we built in 4 months, and Reich of Darkness we made in 2 months, Infectonator 2 in 2 months. The reason why Necronator is built longer than the other games is because we made the basic engine first for the other games, so it's taking more time. As you can see, the art here is quite similar, right?
Yeah.
The UI even quite similar, if different skin, but it's quite similar. Okay. So, how do we be productive? We reuse our artwork. We have large sets of character library here, and we can to be reused in different games. But don't just reuse your art asset. You have to create a new one for your new game as well. And try to make your code reusable. Build flexible codes build flexible classes that can be override easily to make other different gameplay. And don't hard code it. If you have a lot of levels, use XML for level editors. If you have a lot of behavior for your characters, use other text to make your character's behavior. Just don't hard code it. It's quite hard. It's quite time consuming if you have to recompile everything to add new character, new levels. And we have in our company we have a standardized workflow. So before we make a game, we came together and we set rules and limitations for artists and programmers. You can do this, you cannot do this, you have to do this, and so on. And everybody knows how to do their part, and that's how we being productive.
Actually, just to add, for the reusing artwork, we took the inspiration from Kairosoft. Actually, do you guys play Game Dev Story? Are you familiar with it? Okay. For those of you who don't know about Game Dev Story or Kairosoft, they're a Japanese developer, I think, and they make games, simulation like tycoon games with pixel art. And the cool part is they develop their games very rapidly. You can see new games coming up using the same artwork, the same pixel art characters, the same UI, but they have a different gameplay. So in this part, you play as a game development company, and then another game comes out, you play as a what do you call it, a mall building tycoon. So it comes out with different gameplays, but it reuses the same artwork, and the players don't mind. They actually love it. So it's something that you can put into consideration when building new games, so you don't have to redo the artwork and everything.
It's making your development time shorter because you have a lot of library.
Yeah, and then the characters, they will become unique in themselves. So when somebody sees the screenshot, hey, I know this character, it's from this developer. So it creates your flavor also. And being productive also means maximizing your monetization. We always monetize our games through advertising. what we learned is we use multimedia's in interlevel ads, and it's very good. We don't want to be very intrusive to the player. We don't want to like give them ads every level. So what we did is you can play the game after 4 levels, and we know that you've been you stuck to this game for 4 levels. It means you're really getting into it. So we show an ad, interlevel ad. It could be a video ad. It could be a click away ad, but we make it as immersive or as bland as possible with the UI and everything. So the player don't really notice that it's an ad.
Yeah. Until now, there hasn't been any emails complaining about the ads, right?
Yeah. And we got a pretty good click-through from that. And the second part is premium contents. Like a few years ago, when premium contents first came out, a lot of portals, a lot of users, they complain about it. They rate the game 0, just seeing like premium right there. But that culture, that behavior is changing. Nowadays, players are more accepting to the premium or microtransaction model. So what we do is we see that Flash games, they could be very similar to downloadable casual games that are maybe like Big Fish or Game House that you develop and sell. So what we did is Flash, we give the Flash version as a free game, but we put extra contents that you can pay. So it's kind of like having a free to play demo and then buy the full version. Yeah, something like that. So it's a model that a lot of users accepted.
It's
nowadays.
called freemium, I think.
Yeah. The second part is maximizing platform. A lot of people are talking about cross promotion. Cross-platform development, and try when we're as Flash developers, we want to maximize Flash export capabilities to iPhone and Android as much as possible.
Nowadays, Flash is quite powerful because they can port your games with Air to Android to iOS in just an instant of time. So if you want to maximize your platform, you have to plan ahead. So you have to think the screen resolutions, because there are a lot of screen resolutions for iOS and for Android. You have to find out the graphic limitations for each devices, game controls and UI, which is the best UI for those mobile and also that can be fit into the web games. The hardware limitations, code optimizations. For code optimization, I have a bit of advice. Using a private final function could be boosting your performance very good.
Yeah, and just like what the panel said before, we learned that when you first develop your game, if you're targeting multi-platform, try to make your game fit to the mobile version as early as possible. So what we did is that we implemented Starling.
Yes, Starling.
Starling SDK. So when we're making the game, if we design we don't design for mobile from the beginning, after you release the game, you will have trouble importing the game. This doesn't work. The performance doesn't work. So having targeting for mobile from the beginning will really help your development process. It will make it less painful, so you don't have to go back and redo everything, change the code and everything.
Well, we tried to do this, but somehow it's still painful for us porting to mobile.
Yeah,
but we make it work. Would you say?
Oh yeah. We do have a mobile version of Infectonator 2. Sorry, we don't have the cable to plug it, show it on the screen. But it's working quite well, and we're using Adobe Air 3.3 and using Starling as for leveraging the Stage 3D, and it's working very well. We get a lot of characters running around, effects and everything blowing up, so it's going really well.
Yes, the Flash is becoming more and more powerful.
Yeah, so for those of you who are Flash developers and you don't have the budget to like use game engines or whatever, yeah, that's very costly. You can just use Flash, and you can target different platforms.
We're not promoting Adobe, right?
Yeah. Maybe Adobe should pay us. Okay. The next part is about growing fan base. So what we learned is, after we release the game, we try to manage our fans. So the next time we release a game, we can just put a status or a message on Facebook, and a lot of people will see it. Really get that viral effect. And for Infectonator, after a few levels, you'll see this pop out, and we give the players reward if they like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And actually, a lot of players really love that. They get extra bonus and for a minimal effort, and we see a huge leap in our fans and user in Facebook and Twitter.
With only 2 games, we have around 180,000 fans right now, I think.
And that happened in a very short time. You can show the chart. So back in 2011, when we first started using that system, we only have around 80,000 Facebook fans and a few thousand Twitter followers, and you can see it jumps very rapidly. In 2012, we released Infectonator in May? I forgot. Just a few months ago, and you can really see the jump in there, and that's just from 2 games.
And with this fan base, we can just make something new, put in our Facebook, and they will try the game.
Yeah.
Try the new game. It's a free marketing as well.
Yeah, it's also considered free marketing. So for those of you who doesn't really have marketing budget, and you can also leverage this for your premium content. So what we did for Necronator 2, we try to put new contents every month or every few weeks, and we post it on Facebook. And a lot of players, they come back, and they, for those who haven't purchased the game, the full version, they purchase the full version in a later update. So it's really good. It's doing really good. So just to wrap up, maybe you can do it.
Okay, lesson learned. So be unique and be productive. How to be unique? You can mix genres to create a new gameplay that doesn't fit to any genre. Controversy can be good as well. You can play as the other side. You don't have to create a game that play as the good side. You can be the antagonist. Be unique. That's the point. And the second part is be productive. Reuse anything that you can while offering something new. Create new stuff as well. And try to target multi-platform and maximize your monetization using advertising and premium content and etc. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, for the being unique part, try to create your own flavor. If you're a new startup, new indie developer, try to make your flavor from the beginning. It will be your signature, make you more stand out in the crowd. Okay, well, that's about it from us. Thank you very much. If there's any questions or anything you would like to ask.
Any questions?
Nope. No, okay.
Okay.
That's a question. The one game with the that created the controversy.
Yeah.
Did you intentionally choose a theme that would court that type of controversy? Was that kind of intent in your game design, as a lot of your theme is about being different and something aside from the mainstream?
Yeah, some part of it is actually intentional, but we didn't think that it will create such a huge, debate. But we
know it's gonna be controversial. We know, but we don't know that the game will be taken down later. So yeah, we try to use the controversial as our tool, but try to balance it out. That's
Yeah, but even though the game is taken down, it's not really a bad thing because we're currently, going to re-release the game soon with new changes. Make it. We take the players' feedback and we kind of, redo the game, make it better. Yeah. Any other questions?
I think they're full. They're sleeping.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about the game you take the Nazi term. So in terms of that game design, do you think about like you choose to be a Nazi, but you make the game more and more stressful, and in the end, the Nazi will lose?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's a very good take. Actually, that's what we did. As the level progress, you'll see that the storyline will go that being this bad guy is not always it doesn't really pay. So, and in the end, we make the bad guy lose. But we kind of put a cliffhanger at the end. So the players, we try to make the players crave for more. So at the end of the game, it will have a like a short movie scene showing that the Nazis
The point is
can lose. Yeah.
the Nazi doesn't win in the end. We just put it to be continued, just like that. So what we meant is that it's gonna balance out the controversy because we doesn't tell the user that the Nazi win, but we need more to balance it out.
Yeah.
We need more. We need the good guys to balance it.
Yeah, because actually the ones who complain is the one that didn't play the game throughout. So after like 1 or 2 levels, they get offended, and so they just send hate mails, complaints, and everything. So you really need to balance out from the very first beginning. But having controversy could be a very good marketing strategy also. Any more questions?
Okay. If there's no more, I give it back to. No.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, guys.